MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell fun.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Today's drought monitor reflecting improvement. Still some moderate drought out there, severe drought in far southern West Virginia. Additional rain will be helping us out in some areas. A widespread 1 to 2 inches from Huntington to Charleston, approaching Elkins, Morgantown, Parkersburg. These areas could see some locally heavy amounts as well. So we have a front approaching the area Friday. It stalls out. As it becomes stationary over Saturday, we'll see additional heavy rain potential. So Friday brings a marginal risk for excessive rain to much of the state, a marginal to slight risk for what could involve some heavy rain and flooding Saturday and Saturday night. For severe storms, we'll have a line approaching the area this evening that may be capable of some damaging winds. So through the evening, that line moves in from the northwest. It doesn't really move much further south than Huntington to Charleston to Franklin. That'll have some lingering into the morning, then additional waves of heavy rain Friday and Saturday. 5CRW forecast starts at home. A lot of areas you'll be traveling to will have some stormy conditions as we head through the weekend, but trending quieter and much hotter next week for much of the country, including here at home. Panhandle forecast. Lows will be ranging from 61 to 65, looking north tonight, then highs in the upper 70s and low 80s here for our Friday. Martinsburg, 64 tonight. We'll see a high of 89 there on Friday. So approaching 90 in some of these warmer spots. 60 in Elkins tonight, looking to Ripley for 65, then low to mid 80s here on Friday. Marlinton, 58, but a high of 84 Friday with 88 for Charleston. The 90s will be coming once we get past the weekend. So still some scattered showers and storms that will involve some flooding potential. Once we get to Monday onward, it's all about the heat.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
5, 3.
Rag 57! Rag 57! Hot!
I don't believe what I just saw.
Bill McKenzie kicks a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened-to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
And across the state of West Virginia and beyond, we welcome you into the CityNet Statewide Sportsline for a Thursday, June 25th, 2026. Thanks for being with us. However you may be listening or watching the show, we're glad you're along with us. Coach Hunter is here in our Health Plan studio. Coach Hunter, welcome and good evening to you.
Good evening, Brad. Second time today. Got a chance to visit with you.
We were over today at the women's basketball practice facility. They held an open practice and then a little interview session afterwards. We'll get into that coming up here in just a bit, talk about what we saw, and we'll hear from Coach Kellogg and a couple of the players coming up in just a bit. We also have a big announcement from the WVU men's basketball team to get into. A new non-conference opponent was announced today, and it's a good one. We'll dive into that here in just a matter of seconds. And then we'll talk a little bit about this eligibility rule that was passed earlier this week or voted on and approved earlier this week by the NCAA, allowing athletes to play 5 years over a 5-year period, in essence getting away from red shirts and theoretically exemption. So you got 5 to play 5. We'll get into it a little bit as it relates to West Virginia and start to take a look ahead and project a year from now and at least look at which football, men's and women's basketball players potentially have another year coming to them that maybe you didn't think was possible. You thought it was maybe going to be a one and done for some of these athletes, and it turns out they may be getting that a second year with the Mountaineer program, potentially with the Mountaineer program if you retain them, coming back. So we'll start to take a look at some of the rosters and what that new ruling or new vote may mean. So we'll get into that coming up here in just a bit. As usual, we'd like to hear from you. Text line's open, 304-8255-304. That's 304-TALK-304, and we'll get to your texts coming up here in just a bit. Greg, let's start with that scheduling news from the men's basketball program. This is a fun one. I like this. Virginia Tech is back on the schedule, a new 3-year deal in place. West Virginia and Virginia Tech will meet this season, the upcoming season, here in Morgantown. They'll meet the following season in Blacksburg, and then year 3 of this deal, they will meet in Charleston. So you get the Morgantown, Blacksburg, Charleston triumvirate with this contract. So Virginia Tech, welcome back to the Hokies. Come on into the Coliseum, fellas. It'll be good to see you.
Yeah, it is. And it's a little bit unusual in terms of the 3-game deal and, neutral site, though, in the state of West Virginia. But you know what? I had to look back. You know how long it's been since West Virginia played?
I was going to ask if you did this research.
Polytechnicers?
It's going to be longer than what I remember it.
11 years.
Wow.
Since 2015, West Virginia played them a 2-game series in 14 and 15. And I think that was hard to press Virginia. Aaron beat Virginia Tech in both those. But this is a series that, even in relatively recent years, was back and forth, 4-4 over the last 8 meetings. Of course, they were in the Big East together for a while, though that seemed like a very short period of time. But obviously this is a rivalry for many, many years prior to that, but it has gone dormant for quite some time now. And West Virginia, as you said, will host them this fall. And as we keep talking about all these basketball games, every time one comes up, I go, well, one's not going to be easy.
Well, that's the next part of the discussion. So if you just look right now, and the full schedule has obviously not been released, but you start with the Players Era in Vegas that we know is going to begin with Auburn, and then we'll have to see where it takes you from there, but you're going to start with Auburn. Then you have the reported matchup with North Carolina that is coming. Then you have Wake Forest down in Greensboro. That is coming, that return game. You have Pitt on the schedule. Now you've added Virginia Tech. So to say this will be a challenging non-conference is probably underselling it. This should end up one of the more difficult degree or strength of schedules in the country. This is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a challenge.
Very much so. And again, Virginia Tech has been solid in recent years and not winning national championships, but that's been a good program for quite a while. And it is nice to see them back on the schedule. And I know that, for 2 things. And West Virginia played in Charleston last year. So it's not like, there was a span there where West Virginia didn't play many men's basketball games in Charleston.
And I think, Greg, given the success and the fan support that came out for that Wake Forest game, that was awesome. So that makes some sense to be down there. And this is good because it gives people in Morgantown a chance to get Virginia Tech in the Coliseum.
Yep.
So it's not just a straight trip to Charleston, but it helps the Charleston and the Southern West Virginia folks that, as we know, sometimes that rivalry means a little bit more even to them down in the southern part of the state. So it's probably a good game to take to Charleston, quite frankly.
Yeah, and again, the exact same thing for those in the very southeastern corner, the Princeton Bluefield area. What's that, a half-hour drive, 45-minute drive from there to Blacksburg to get to Castle? So easy trip for those people when it's even a road game.
I like this one.
Well. Yeah.
I'm glad they're back on. A couple Mountaineer ties, too. Amani Hansberry, former Mountaineer, will be on that Virginia Tech team. He had a heck of a year last year in his first year with Virginia Tech, and former WVU assistant Chester Frazier still on staff at Virginia Tech. So both of them will be coming back in to the Coliseum for the first time.
He's enthusiastic. Amani, I'm coaching-wise, I don't know if it matters a whole lot, but I always wonder how an opposing player who's obviously left upon their return, how they feel about the return.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what that does. We saw Sincere Harris last year have that as he returned to the Coliseum. So it'll be Amani's turn coming up this season. It got me thinking here. That's a lot of big name non-conference opponents there, right? With maybe some others coming out in Vegas. So here's our text question for the night. 304-TALK-304. What's the one opponent now that you would like to see West Virginia play? Excuse me. So Pitt's back on there. Now you got Virginia Tech, reported with North Carolina. Those are 3 pretty big ones right there. Who else would you like to see West Virginia play that they haven't over the last couple of seasons? 304-8255-304. 304. If you're picking one opponent to add to a schedule coming up in the next year or so, who would you pick? Send us your text. We'll get into those coming up here in just a bit. I think I could probably come up with a couple.
Got a bunch, but it feels like and again, some have been a little bit more distant than others, but you've played a lot of the sort of regional rivals, you know, the Kentuckys, Ohio State. You feel like you go to Cleveland and play them every year.
That's a good one. I like that. Georgetown has been into the Coliseum recently, just 2 years ago, so we saw them come in.
It's been since Maryland, I guess. That'd be one.
That would be one that I think you kind of mix in there. It feels like that's been a while. Was the NCAA tournament the last time you played them?
Yeah, you had them in Birmingham. Wasn't that long ago, but you haven't had a regular season game against the Terps. Well,
that's our question. Who'd you like to see West Virginia play now that you're getting Virginia Tech back on the schedule that eliminates them? 304-8255. 304 if you'd like to weigh in. We'd love to hear from you. Break to take. When we come back, we'll dive into women's basketball. Got our first look at Mark Kellogg's group this morning and then met with some of the players and Coach Kellogg afterwards. We'll talk about that. You'll hear from them coming up next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
Ready to make this boating season unforgettable? Head to Lou Wendell Marine Sales, family owned and operated for over 40 years and West Virginia's largest Avalon pontoon dealer. Lou and his sons are boating experts from sales to service to repairs. And right now, their lot is packed with incredible inventory and some of the best deals of the season. Whether it's weekends on the lake or sunset cruises with the family, Lou Wendell Marine Sales has your perfect boat waiting. Because they don't just sell boats, they sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com today.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
For couples that are experiencing infertility, about half will have the male factor in the diagnosis. At the WVU Medicine Center for Reproductive Medicine, we offer a wide array of treatment options for male factor infertility. There's really no reason you would need to go anywhere else. If we can identify and treat male factor infertility, we can prevent couples from even having to go down the road of IVF, saving you potentially money and time. We're here to help build a family. We have the capabilities and we care.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the road.
Download MetroNews Television on your iPhone or Android. Search MetroNews Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
High-speed fiber internet is probably at your front door, and now's the time to connect. More rural communities in West Virginia can get the high-speed internet they deserve with free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can trust. Whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. CityNet connects, protects, and perfects. Text line's open 304-8255-304. We're getting a bunch of good ones on the non-conference basketball opponent you'd like to see West Virginia play. Just announced that Virginia Tech is back on the schedule for a 3-game series. So who's left? Who haven't you seen for a while that you would like to? 304-TALK-304. We've got some good ones rolling in, so we'll get to those here in just a second. Let's talk some women's basketball. And Greg, you remember, I was hustling out of here last night to get over across town. We held an event in conjunction with Golden Blue Enterprises introducing the women's basketball team. We had a great time. They have some wonderful personalities on that team, in addition to some talent, which we'll talk about in a minute. They have some ladies that like to get on the mic and are comfortable there, including Kai and Godu, who we had on the show the other night, which, by the way, may have brokered a little side deal with Kai. She enjoyed coming on the show the other night, so I said, well, we're happy to have you back here throughout the summer and as we get into the fall season. Me? Well, I don't think replace. I think supplement, Greg, would be a better word. I think we're going to supplement.
Very good. We got a chance to talk to her again this morning in the post-practice interview session that we held.
Well, let's talk about this. Because we got to see practice there for a little bit, which was fun to see because as we've been talking, this is a really highly touted class that Mark brought in here from a transfer standpoint. He's got some talent. He's got some size, especially positional size. I'll start with you, then I'll chime in there. What did you see today on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, you start with size because that's the first thing that jumps out at you. And you've talked about this on the men's side, but I'm not going to say it's exactly equivalent, but we mentioned before in Mark's first 3 seasons at West Virginia, the one thing that they probably lacked was just length inside. Now, they had some great interior rebounders, workers. Mimi Wheeler, the best of those, but she wasn't necessarily a tall post player, just really efficient. Well, now they got some posts that look like they've got some size, including Kaela, who's a legit 6'3". Got a chance to stand and talk to her, and she's all of what they listed. Which isn't always the case in many sport rosters as you go through. Many of them are below that. But you know what? And again, sometimes athletic ability just jumps out. And I'm not going to say, we got a chance to watch about an hour. And I'm not going to tell you that I could decipher the skill level of everybody out there. I'll let you do that. You're more the basketball guy. But there's some people that all of a sudden you go, okay, yeah, that person's pretty athletic. That's got an opportunity. Should say that Skylar Forbes wasn't at practice today. So there are 12 ladies on the roster. Only 11 were on the floor today. Skylar's going to be fine.
And they're really high on Skylar Forbes. I mean, she's produced at this level before, but they've talked about her on and off the record to say how much they think of her and how talented she is.
And again, I'll evaluate them from, well, that person would be a good linebacker or a good offensive lineman just because their feet move really well and they've got athletic skills. But you watch Nyla Watson run.
Nyla Wilson.
Yeah.
Nyla Wilson. She is really talented. So that's a 5-star recruit, top 30 coming out of high school. Originally commits to Auburn. They changed coaches, so she switches. She ends up at Pitt. Went through some injuries and things last year, so didn't play a ton. Didn't have the season, and nobody at Pitt did. That's why they had a coaching change and moved on. And West Virginia is the beneficiary because she's somebody that West Virginia had been on previously and had visited West Virginia, and so she ends up here for good. That's a really talented guard that can be the 1 or the 2, probably more comfortable at the 2, but can handle the ball. And she's one, much like we talk about Mo Silla on the men's side, kind of the same profile. 5-star, top 30 kid coming in, looking for a bounce back year, coming off a little bit of an injury. So, they're really high on her. She'll be fun to watch. And you can just tell when she has the ball and starts moving, she looks really good. And her thing, she said last night to us, we asked her this, said, do you like offense or defense better? She didn't even hesitate. She said defense. She'll get up in you a little bit there, and that's what West Virginia needs, right?
Yeah.
Given the background of JJ Quinterly and then into Jordan Harrison, you get somebody else in the backcourt that thrives off defense and is that level of athlete. That's a really good starting point for that backcourt.
Yeah, and there were others, and admittedly, I mean, I didn't see anything out there that goes, oh, well, that person can't play. I mean, so there were some, though. And again, one practice in June, so who's got their stroke yet, who's hitting shots, but Myra Hudgens, the BYU transfer, was hitting a bunch of shots. Anytime they left her open, she looked like she could stroke it pretty well.
She can shoot it. 90% free throw shooter from the line last year at BYU. She's an interesting background, too. Won a state title in 2 different states.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she can win. Yeah, she's a good addition to the program. Another sharp shooter from the outside, which you need. If you're going to have some guards that are going to penetrate and kick, she's one that can shoot it.
She talked about it. I think she said she's lived in 8 different states. And she said, parents in the military, what are you doing? He said, no, they just like to move around a lot. They could work from home, so they just pick up and go.
How about that?
So
that's no big deal for her to roll into a new school here. Yeah, she was at Santa Clara before BYU.
Yeah, but in there are others. I think that you look at the point guard position, and there's not going to be another Jordan Harrison, just like there wasn't another J.J. Quinterly. But Kennedy Harris, transfer from George Mason, is a player that's going to have to be solid at the point guard position. They've got some others that will be able to help them there, but it looks like she would be the primary point. Would you agree or not?
Yeah, I would. I think she's got a chance to play a lot of minutes there. She's played 85 games in her career, was first team all-conference last year at George Mason, second team the year before. So that's an accomplished player that is now moving up a level. But yeah, I think you feel comfortable with what she has done in her career, now stepping up here as she comes to West Virginia.
Exactly. Anybody else that really leapt out to you?
No, I think those are the ones, and I think Shantae Murray is somebody to keep an eye on. Coming in from Canada, top 100 kid as well. She has good size, 6 foot plus for her, so I think she's somebody to watch. And then I think, we haven't mentioned the returners in there's 2 in Maddie Parrish, but then Gia Cook, who we know is as good as there is. But I think you can see why that staff's excited about what they've brought in. They have some pieces that, again, same thing as we talk about on the men's side. They've got some talent. They've got the different pieces where you can plug, and now it's just a matter of them coming together, them buying into this system, this playing the way Mark wants them to play, them liking each other, right? The camaraderie and the culture needs to come together as it has every year under Mark. But I think you should be excited about where the women's basketball team could be this year.
Again, obviously set a very high bar in recent years, but I don't see any reason that you're going to see any kind of major drop off a cliff. There's enough talent there. They're still going to be very, very good.
Agree with you. Well, let's hear from some of them. Let's start with Coach Kellogg, and he talks in this first clip just about the fast and furious nature of the transfer portal and how quickly you've got to bring in a large number of players in a short amount of time.
Did it in about 18 days, so it just depends on which way you look at it. But we did bring in 11 players, I think, in an 18-day period and signed 10 of them. So it was hot and heavy. That was a little hectic, a little stressful, in certain situations. But really liked the group we had. We set out to with some goals, I guess, in mind, and obviously these players we felt really comfortable with, and in the recruiting process, and then throughout the summer so far, we're about to finish our 4th week. They've kind of lived up to everything that we thought they would.
So that's a pretty good start, right? Just that last line, they've lived up to everything that we thought they would be. That's good. You don't want those kids to come in and you're like, uh-oh. They haven't had any of that. They've been pretty pleased about what they think they signed versus now what they've actually signed. He also talks, I thought this was interesting too, Greg, as you've had the success that he has had since he's arrived, and it's really been a lot of success, and it's been right from the beginning. You just said it. The expectations are raised because of how good they have been in his first couple of seasons. So what's that mean, and how's that translate now into recruits when they're out on the road recruiting to this program?
I've said is I think we're checking all the boxes now from a recruiting standpoint, what they're looking for. Oh, I want to play in a winning program. Great. Check, right? I want to play in front of fans. Check. I want to be coached. Check. I want to have, do you produce pros? Oh, yeah, Jordan Harrison and J.J. Quinterly were playing in the WNBA. Check. So I just think we're now checking all of the boxes, where before maybe we were checking most of the boxes, but now we're kind of checking the vast majority.
And it's interesting, too, when you do the pros box and you check those two, that's 2 of the smaller players, not only just in your program, but in the league. That shows you how good this system has been for showcasing it and what you can do from the backcourt. Now as you start to get some of that size that comes with that, now you can really take off. But I think that's pretty impressive that you're throwing out those aren't players just getting drafted because they're the biggest on the floor. They're getting drafted from skill and development, how they developed here in this program.
And I think that's why you can really recruit to the guard area in this program, because you have that. Just sort of like in baseball, you go to the D2 pitchers and say, look what we did.
Sure.
Well, now, okay, look what we did with small guards. Now, if you can add some length to that and also get them to an extreme level,
Now you're cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's important. Again, you go back to last year, the final game, Kentucky. Boy, what'd they have? Length of
all over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they were really good. And West Virginia was right there with the Wildcats, but that was a difference maker for that club. And so that's sort of the next area I think West Virginia probably needs.
Well, you always in basketball, right? Bigger, faster, stronger. You want to get, and I guess that's any sport. You're trying to get bigger, faster, stronger at every position. And I think West Virginia has done that. And Kai told us this the other night, that the system attracts you as a player. The way they play and the up and down nature and the in your face defense, and some of the girls echoed that last night. Here's Mark talking again. We mentioned it earlier. We're going to get into this coming up here in just a few minutes about this 5th year of eligibility that has been voted upon here, where players are going to have 5 years to play 5. How will Mark approach that with his roster?
I know it's conversations we're already having. Had one of them yesterday with one of our seniors that we'll be able to use the 5th year. So I think we have 6 seniors, 3 of which could use the 5th year if they chose. So we need. Again, they may not know right now really what they're going to do, but if they do, that would certainly help because, we're in the middle of the summer, which is prime recruiting for the 2027 high school graduates. I think for them, and I have a daughter who's in that class, like that changes significantly in the amount of opportunities. It will feel just like the COVID year all over again. When those kids late got the year back, it's about the same time where we got that decision that says, they get the extra year. So, the portal will be hopping again. Our numbers came down a little bit this year from the year before, and now they're just about to go right back up. So, there's strategy to it. It's something we talked about as soon as we heard officially that it was going to come, but it was all trending that it was going to pass anyway.
Right. It was trending that it was going to pass. I think the coaches have been preparing as much as you can, but it does create some potential logjam. That's why he was talking about that extra COVID year, because as he just said, you've got a couple kids there that if you want to keep them, if they want to return, well, that's 3 spots that you're going to take away potentially from some of the high school kids you're trying to recruit right now. And that's happening at schools all over the country. So there is a little bit of what's happening. Add to that mix, and it's more on the men's side necessarily than the women's, all the lawsuits that are coming down the pike here on the men's side. If that gets ruled in the favor of those players trying to get a year back, now that floods the market with an additional X number of guys that are also looking for spots. So there is some roster management tweaks that are going to go on when rules like this drop in.
Absolutely. And it is going to be really interesting to see how much it impacts traditional recruiting, right? Because as you said, if you're allowing a larger pool of players to remain within the system, well, then your pool of recruits that can fill in becomes shallower.
Sure.
So, it only makes sense. And Mark mentioned, we'll go over the list a little bit for other sports in a second, but Mark mentioned the 6 players on his team that are going to be seniors this year, but 3 of those, and one of those we talked to in Kaela, and I talked to her. She admitted, she'll think about it.
Sure.
Very much think about it. Skylar Forbes, another really good player, also will have an additional year of eligibility, and Kennedy Harris, the point guard we just spoke of. Those 3 all could come back not only this coming season, but the following season. Again, they'll have collegiate eligibility. In today's world, that doesn't necessarily mean WVU, but you're here. You'd rather have them here and try to retain them rather than not have them at all.
Yeah, because as we talk, those are 3 what we think will be primary pieces to this program. So if that comes out and plays to fruition and they achieve what you think they can achieve, and the team does, that might be 3 that it's a heck of a starting point, right, as you start to move forward in your roster construction. All right, speaking of that, here's the last one from Coach Kellogg. He talks a little bit about the roster makeup and what it looks like for this season.
It's different than anything we've had since we've been here. So, we're longer across the board, athletic, just they can get in and out of screens. They can score multiple ways. Forbes wasn't here today. Skylar, who can, pick, pop, put it on the floor, is a tremendous player, but you saw some of the versatility of the post play. And, we can play guards because I think we just have bigger wings now, too, that could slide over and be like a 4, for us and stretch the floor. So, again, that's just the versatility. I think that's what I think we rebounded at a high rate. We had a couple possessions the other day in practice where I think we had 3 straight possessions with a block shot. I'm like, I hadn't seen that a whole lot since we didn't block a ton of shots so far in my 3 years. So I think we'll see a little bit more of, some rim protection as well.
Yeah, I think the key word there's just the versatility, right? Yeah. That's what coaches want in any sport, the ability to move people in different positions, to run your sets without having almost positionless basketball is what you're looking for, right? It's gone that way on both the men's and the women's side. All right, let's hear from a couple players. Just a quick cut here from Gia Cook. She's the one that we talked about, such a talented scorer defensively as well. She returns and will obviously be the heartbeat of this women's team. She talked a little bit about the support and about winning the Big 12 championship in the tournament last year.
Oh, it means everything. Y'all should have saw my videos. Like I was crazy on Instagram, but no, that was a so unreal moment just for my journey and things like that. It was definitely hard for me. So just to come here and kind of find a home and win a Big 12 championship, that was amazing for me. It meant a lot, and I want to run it back. So we're going double back. Come on.
Double back. She's great in front of the mic, although we got to work with her. She's got to give her Instagram handle out there when she talks about, you got to check me out on Instagram. Got to give the handle there so we can find it. One more from one of the players, and we'll talk a lot about this player, multi-time player of the year in the state of West Virginia, Alexis Bordas. We had her on this show. She was a pleasure to talk to. She had such a great freshman season at Duquesne. She transferred into West Virginia. What is she thinking about this year, and how special is it for her putting on that jersey, being a West Virginia native?
It's been super fun already, just all the fan support. Last night we had an event, and just seeing all the fans and how it's June and everyone's already so excited and just rallies around this team. So I know it's extra special being from West Virginia, and I'm sure lots of little girls will look up to me and hope to be playing here one day. So it's great to be a role model for them too.
Who did you look up to when you were a kid?
Honestly, like Chase Harler's from Wheeling, so came to a lot of his games. Javon Carter, my brother, loved him, so we watched a lot more of the men back then. But Kaiser Gondrzik, she was someone that I always watched.
There we go. Good job.
She knows her Mountaineer stuff.
Gave a Chase shout out too. That was good.
I mean, she goes generations of WVU alums in her background, so she knows. She's been to plenty of football and basketball games over time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing her take the floor. Obviously, her shooting prowess could help this team, as she was one of the best three-point shooters in the country last season. All right, there's your women's basketball preview. We'll do more of that as we move throughout the summer. Should be another fun season for Mark Kellogg and company. Break to take. When we come back, we still have eligibility to talk about what the new rule means, and Textline, Coach Hunter. We got a bunch of good ones here. 304-8255-304. We asked earlier in the show, what's the one basketball opponent that you haven't seen for a few years that you'd like to see back on the schedule? We got a lot that we'll get to, some great answers on that. We'll do that coming up as well as the CityNet statewide Sportsline rolls on.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. For years, rural communities in West Virginia waited for reliable, high-speed internet. Now, fiber is most likely at your front door. Public investment helped build the opportunity, and CityNet delivered the service to homes and businesses just like yours. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can count on, switching to fiber has never been easier. Fast downloads, smooth streaming, better connections for work, school, and everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Today's drought monitor reflecting improvement. Still some moderate drought out there, severe drought in far southern West Virginia. Additional rain will be helping us out in some areas, a widespread 1 to 2 inches from Huntington to Charleston, approaching Elkins, Morgantown, Parkersburg. These areas could see some locally heavy amounts as well. So we have a front approaching the area Friday. It stalls out. As it becomes stationary over Saturday, we'll see additional heavy rain potential. So Friday brings a marginal risk for excessive rain to much of the state, a marginal to slight risk for what could involve some heavy rain and flooding Saturday and Saturday night. For severe storms, we'll have a line approaching the area this evening that may be capable of some damaging winds. So through the evening, that line moves in from the northwest. It doesn't really move much further south than Huntington to Charleston to Franklin. That'll have some lingering into the morning, then additional waves of heavy rain Friday and Saturday. 5CRW forecast starts at home. A lot of areas you'll be traveling to will have some stormy conditions as we head through the weekend, but trending quieter and much hotter next week for much of the country, including here at home. Panhandle forecast, lows will be ranging from 61 to 65, looking north tonight, then highs in the upper 70s and low 80s here for our Friday. Martinsburg, 64 tonight. We'll see a high of 89 there on Friday. So approaching 90 in some of these warmer spots. 60 in Elkins tonight, looking to Ripley for 65, then low to mid 80s here on Friday. Marlinton 58, but a high of 84 Friday with 88 for Charleston. The 90s will be coming once we get past the weekend. So still some scattered showers and storms that will involve some flooding potential. Once we get to Monday onward, it's all about the heat.
Welcome back in. Sitting at Statewide Sportsline continues. Brad and Greg with you. We're in the Health Plan studio. Since 1979, the Health Plan is called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years, the Health Plan. We'll get into your text coming up here in just a bit. I'm surprised. I will just say this. There's some A10 love coming in on the text line for some opponents. So we have covered it all. We have covered some regional opponents on here. We've covered some old Big East opponents. We've got some A10 opponents. So we'll get into that here in just a second. But I like
memories of those days. I have no problem with that.
All of them. Mm-hmm. Big list. All right, let's talk eligibility for a second.
Okay.
So this 5 years to play 5 has been approved by the NCAA. What does that mean? We just heard Mark Kellogg talk about it from a women's basketball perspective. He outlined the 3 players there that are potentially in play for that. Let's talk about football and men's basketball for a second.
Okay.
Start with football. Who are we talking about potentially getting a second year here that you didn't think they may have?
Yeah, no, these are, again, younger guys, this is going to impact them a great deal as well. But let's just talk about the immediate impact because of those that are otherwise classified as seniors. Basically, what it comes down to, if you've been redshirted in the past, your eligibility clock is ticking. You're only going to have this final year, no matter what. But there are 6 players on the Mountaineer football team who have not been redshirted in the past, and thus are 4th-year seniors right now. So not only can they play in 26, but should have college eligibility in 27 as well. 6 of those. Linebacker Ben Cutter, safety Jameer Latimer, safety Andrew Podell, running back Cam Cook.
Oh, you're giving some good names here, Coach Hunter.
Offensive lineman Cam Griffin, and defensive lineman Gabe Ryan. So a lot of those are guys that are very much in your starting lineup, if not too deep. And again, these are guys who played as true freshmen, whether here or somewhere. So you'd expect them to be sort of high end of the curve.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you can get all or a majority of those guys to return as 5th-year seniors, not just this year, but next year, boy, that's a nice starting point. Then you add all the others that return as well. There are some. I mean, Jaden Bray, he's going to be a 6th-year senior this year. He's not a guy who's going to return. There are a bunch that can't return. According to the way the rule is written.
That's
a nice 6.
Yeah, that's, again, I'll say the same thing I said about women's basketball. If that list of guys who are really all, for the most part, all names that you've heard coming out of the spring is guys that should contribute to this team, if they have those same kind of years, and again, everything works and both parties agree, that's a pretty good starting point with some guys that may be high-end producers this year.
Yeah. Now we move on to the men's basketball side. And again, one thing, with last year's team was so senior-laden in a lot of ways. I didn't realize that this year's group, and there's so many newcomers, doesn't have as many seniors. There are a lot of younger players. Maybe they're not all just freshmen, but could be just sophomores according to class rank or whatever. But they're just 3 seniors as currently constituted on this roster. 2 of those have the ability to come back if the rule goes as written. Finley Bizjack and Sadhu Traore.
Seydou Traore.
I'll bet you that.
That's all right.
You get it through me.
We got it. Seydou Traore, who played at Utah last year, was at Iowa previous to that.
Both of those guys have not had red shirts in the past, should be able to come back for not just this year, but the following year. Javon Buchanan is the only guy listed as a senior who's played 4 previous years of college basketball. This would be his 5th and final.
Yeah, and so he's the first couple of years for him is JUCO
D2
related.
Well, yeah, D2 actually.
Yeah, so you're looking.
I think actually NAIA.
Yeah, so he's potentially with you're working through that right now.
Yeah,
right.
So, but I mean, he needs a waiver to get on the floor this year, though, unless those waivers are coming. But it would not be expected that he would get an additional year above and beyond this one.
Yeah, that's big news for both Finley and Seydoux, who both, again, are expected to have big roles on this Mountaineer team. And again, early results from what I've seen, Greg, you're going to expect a lot and should expect a lot out of both of those guys.
Yeah.
They have looked really good in practice on both ends of the floor. So that's significant. And again, basketball, as we talk about, becomes a little bit harder in retention because when guys play, the number just seems to rocket out of control so quickly. Football, you still have a little life in there because the numbers, the roster's so big that they don't seem to escalate as quickly. But retention is going to be important on either side, and sometimes that might mean 1, sometimes it's 2, but you're certainly looking for all of that. But that's really interesting for those guys, and changes what they were thinking, right? I mean, if you're Finley or Seydoux, you're coming into this season just a couple weeks ago, you thought this was it.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, boom, you get hit with another one. You might have just picked up another year of eligibility. And for both of those guys, again, I'll say the same thing I said about the other two. Those are guys expected to play big roles on this team. And so you would think that comes to fruition. And if they do, that's another good payday for them next year, whether that's here or they go somewhere else. That's a big boon to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see with the others. I mean, the football side of things, obviously Cam Cook is sort of the high end of that. Now, as a running back, if he has the year that most would hope, wheels, the tread on the tire, you got to go make your NFL money.
Yeah.
If you have a big year.
Sure.
Certainly understandable at that point in time. Though, obviously, in the college game today, you can make some pretty good money by coming back. But the others aren't necessarily, NFL-type players. I mean, and no offense against Ben Cutter's ability, but he's been 4 years here, been a really solid player. You get another 5th solid year out of him. I mean, he's one of those guys Tony used to talk about. A 10-year college guy.
Sure.
So there's several in that vein that you could see definitely returning and hopefully returning to West Virginia.
Yeah, okay. That's a good exercise there, and that's something we'll certainly be talking about throughout the season as that has just become passed as legislation. 5 years to play 5 is now a thing. Final break to take when we come back. Let's get into some of your texts. Opponents you would like to see on West Virginia's future men's basketball schedule. We'll get into that next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Communication is more than words. It's how we live and connect. At WVU Medicine Speech Therapy, our experts help children and adults improve speech, language, cognition, and swallowing. From stroke recovery to pediatric communication needs, we create personalized plans to help you move forward with confidence. Ask your provider for a referral. Visit wvumedicine.org/outpatient rehab or call 855-WVU-CARE.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The health plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Final segment, CityNet Statewide Sportsline. Brad and Greg with you in our health plan studio. Greg, before we dive into these texts, speaking of men's basketball, let's put a bow on the NBA draft that concluded last night. How about this nugget from ESPN? Ready?
Yes.
The Big 12 had 13 players selected in the draft. The most in a single draft in the modern era, which means since 1966. So, again, I've said it all week, not that any of us needed further proof that league was an absolute beast last year. There's some to back you up.
That's
that tells
amazing.
you what that Big 12 was like last year, and I'll keep saying it. For West Virginia in year one of the Ross Hodge era to finish with a bye in that event, in that league, with what you had to go through and the rigors of that, especially given the injuries you had, goodness gracious, heck of a year. Gives you something to look forward to. All right, speaking of hoops, Virginia Tech now back on the schedule. Excited to see the Hokies return to the Hope Coliseum next year. Who else do you want to see? And we got a bunch of texts, Greg. Leading off, Duquesne and Penn State. You had you looked up Penn State on your own way before this texter sent this in. Tell the listeners the last time West Virginia and Penn State played in hoops.
Hard for me to believe it's been this long. 1991.
Wow.
91. That's now 35 years ago.
That's a stunner. That stunned me when you said that.
Exactly. Especially
Goodness
for
gracious.
those of us that covered those games.
Jeez.
And even went to games in State College.
Now remember, I should have given the disclaimer here.
Mhm.
We're not taking into account what the net ranking would do here, or the scheduling that we talk about, that you've got to schedule difficult because you're rewarded. So this is just opponent that you'd like to see. Don't worry about if they're good or bad. Obviously, with Duquesne and Penn State, your first two in, you followed the exercise, but no worries about net in this one.
Yeah, and it's been 12 years since West Virginia played Duquesne. Of course, that was an annual event for many, many years, even on a home and home.
Here's one for you, Greg. You looked this number up, too. This was surprising how long this has been in a regular season. This texter says, I always like playing Maryland, and it was an easy drive.
Yeah, easy drive over there. West Virginia has played the Terps a couple of times in NCAA tournament games in relatively recent periods, 2023 in Birmingham and 2015 in Columbus. But it's been since 2003 that West Virginia has played a regular season game. And if memory serves, that was sort of an in-season tournament. So it's been since 92 that they played in the Coliseum.
It's a long time there, too. Joel checking in from Wilmington, great area of the country there. He goes back. He's turning it back to the Big East. Seton Hall, St. John's, and Providence he would like to see. We just saw St. John's, 2 seasons ago?
Sounds right.
Played them the DeVries year, I think, if I'm not mistaken,
I can
right?
look that up, but yeah, it was Patino and DeVries.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so that one's on there. So he has
Providence and Seton Hall.
Yep, he went with some Big East. All right, texter says here, I'd like to see Syracuse back on the schedule. Diehard Syracuse fan texting in. Played high school ball against Billy Owens. So it's a Syracuse fan texting in.
Carlisle, PA, in terms of that.
See the orange.
West Virginia did it. This was the COVID bubble year, right? West Virginia faced them in the 2021 NCAA tournament. In terms of the Orange, haven't played them since actually leaving the Big East, though, in a regular season game.
Got them was that a Sweet 16 game? Not too long ago. It was one of the Boeheim kids had a good game.
Yeah.
I think it was a Sweet 16 game.
Was it? I know it was one of the ones in Indianapolis that was held in that weird bubble situation. It was an Elite Eight game.
It was No, it wasn't Elite Eight.
No, I'm sorry.
Sweet 16.
It was 32. It was a second round game.
Okay.
Beat Morehead State in the first round. West Virginia did, and then next game in played and lost to the Orange by 3.
Texter Greg from Lake Norman. He wants to turn it all the way back to the SoCon days and wants Davidson back on the list. Now we played Davidson when they had Steph.
Yeah.
Right. It was back in the Garden, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was in the Garden and didn't go well. That was during Mountaineers were playing football somewhere. I remember in Steph did nothing in the first half. West Virginia quadruple teamed him, and then all of a sudden he went nuts late and pulled out a victory.
So speaking of Madison Square Garden, I was going to say I didn't ask this question, but I'd like a game back in the Garden. I'd like to be back there. And so this next texter chimes in. Another vote for St. John's, but also says Notre Dame. Wouldn't mind Notre Dame on there. That'd be a good turn back the clock game.
Mm-hmm.
A10 weighing in here, Temple and St. Bonnie on the board, Coach Hunter.
St. Bonnie, that's a good one. You have to go to Olean for that. If you can get there.
They can come down here.
West Virginia just played Temple a couple of years ago, but I looked that one up too. If you go past that one just a couple of seasons ago, it had been like 30 years since the Owls and the Mountaineers had gotten together. Again, those were classic games back in the Gail Catlett, John Chaney era.
Got them once in the NCAA tournament, too, in the 98. Opened in Boise. It was a 9 a.m. local tip and absolutely drilled the Owls by 30.
Yeah.
Set up the matchup with Cincinnati and Hugs, the Jared West shot. Casey in Lexington weighing in. He says should definitely play Kentucky every year. Great regional matchup and an SEC opponent. A lot of West Virginia fans in Kentucky. Says that one. This texter weighing in says we really owe Gonzaga 0-6.
0-6?
No, not right. Not right. Forgetting the Bahamas game.
How can you forget that?
I don't know how you can forget that. It just happened.
It's one of the best regular season victories in many years.
Should have got you in the tournament.
Yeah.
Committee botched that one. But yeah, you're not 0-6 against Gonzaga. Texter says Kentucky. They want that. There's another vote for Kentucky. Here's a Villanova getting a vote for the old Big East.
Like the Villanova games.
We've got, excellent. I was hoping our guy would text. He did. He said, so WVU is going to hoop against Tech in Morgantown this season on December 5th. Is that right? Is it on December 5th? Because he says Pat White's number 5 could be retired at that game instead of 9-5 against Coastal. Very good. I like it. Can tell you, if not, calm down even with the night of sleep. Another vote for Kentucky. And he points out, this texter points out, have already started a minor baseball rivalry with them. Also adds in a vote for Louisville. I wouldn't mind that one. That was always a good. That was a fun. That was one of those. I thought that got quickly to a major rivalry about as fast as any matchup I can remember. I mean, that was
coaching
ignited.
Related though, as much as teams.
It was easy to dislike them when we were rolling, and it was Petrino.
Yeah.
On the football side, right? That was easy. Then that was where the massive comeback came with the White and Slayton part of it. That was an easy one. And then basketball, certainly it's easy to dislike them.
Yeah.
When we were playing them. Had some epic battles, and you get some regional proximity. I just thought that was a good one. That was about as quickly as you can get to a dislike of another institution, I thought, for a collective fan base. Texter adding in North Carolina here, Mike from Grafton. Yeah, Mike, that's going to be on the list reportedly this season. I don't think that's officially announced yet, is it?
Not yet.
I've not seen that come out.
We've had a couple people question that. But
yeah, a lot of people.
We understand it's going to happen, but
a lot of people reporting that. Pitt, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Wake. Are we in the ACC? Joking aside, I like the Eastern teams, said the texter. Yeah, I like some of this proximity. Here's another vote from Maryland. My office is right up the street from Hagerstown Baseball Stadium we played at this year. He wants to go after Maryland. By the way, great stadium over there in Hagerstown. Another vote for Kentucky. Another vote for Villanova. UConn getting a vote. Louisville, another vote. That's some good ones. Those are, I agree with kind of all of those, right?
Well, there are no wrong answers. Just
no, they're not.
What would you?
That's why that's a fun question. Louisville would be up there for me. I'd like to take them. Maryland's one that's always surprised me that you haven't played them more than what you have in basketball, especially because you were playing them every year in football.
Yeah.
During that time, but you couldn't get together on the basketball side of things.
No, I would agree. I want to say Penn State because it's been so long, but it also doesn't drive the needle a whole lot.
Right.
Not like football,
right.
certainly.
And we need them to they gotta get a little bit better there so we can get that going. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Great job on the text line, everyone. Thank you. I love when we have nights like this, when there are those kind of questions, you can get all the varying responses. So thank you for playing along with us this evening. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Greg and I will be as we round out the week. Try and come up with another text question for you, too, as well. Thanks for being with us this evening. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See you.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network. All rights reserved.